And welcome to Speak for Yourself. Marcellus Wiley. A lot better today. Emmanuel Acho, my dog. Looking saucy over there. Let's get it started in the NFC West, where the Rams inch closer to the top of the division with a big win over the Cardinals last night. Matthew Stafford threw 3 touchdowns. Aaron Donald had 3 sacks. And L.A. picked off Kyler Murray twice, which led to Rams touchdowns. So, Acho, what did the Rams performance tell you?
It told me a few things. Most importantly, that they're capable of beating anybody.
They're
capable of beating anybody. We started to have our doubts about the Los Angeles Rams, understandably so. They had lost 3 consecutive games. We were wondering, is it Matthew Stafford's fault? Remember, Stafford 0-3 in the playoffs. Stafford couldn't get right with the Lions, but we blamed the Lions. We blamed the Detroit Lions organization's coaching, lack of running game. But then all of a sudden, Stafford partnered up with Sean McVay, and once again, the Rams were struggling. So now, Stafford, it was abundantly clear, it's on you, big dog. But wait a second. Stafford, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Odell Beckham, another touchdown. Aaron Donald, 3 sacks. Von Miller, several tackles, several pressures, and we finally saw all the stars align, literally speaking. I think the Rams are now showing the world we are Super Bowl contenders. Okay. We're capable of beating anybody, and we are here to stay. I had said at the beginning of the season, Rams, Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
You said beginning of the season, right?
Because
that changed by week 2, week 4, week 8.
You know me, I stick to my guns.
I
stick to my guns.
You say it less. That's your gun?
I say it much
You
less.
hiding the gun.
But it's starting to appear that, wait a second, the Rams should be mentioned in the same conversation as the Bucs. The Rams should be mentioned in the same conversation as the Packers. And the Rams can be mentioned in the same conversation as any team in the AFC. But what did the Rams' performance tell me? It also told me that the Cardinals can't be all that. Why, Sel? Because we put the Cardinals top tier because the Cardinals had the best record in football. That's what we did all season long. Yeah. But after watching the Cardinals lose to the Rams, I realized, what's the Cardinals' biggest win all season? Their biggest win is against the team that just beat them. Yeah. Outside of beating the Rams, the Cardinals' biggest win all season was week 1. Against the Tennessee Titans. So, wait a second. Not only did the Rams prove that they are legitimate, they also showed the world that the Cardinals might not be as good as we think they are. They might not be as good as we've tried to give them credit for. Now, the only reason we're saying that is because the Cardinals had the best record in football. Right. So maybe they are just not the best team in football. So the Rams' performance told me 2 things. The Cardinals are not the best team in football, and their record might be a little bit deceiving. But more importantly, it also told me that the Rams are Super Bowl contenders.
Okay. I'm in there somewhere, and I'm going to tell you where exactly. What I saw from the Rams last night, it told me that the best version of the Rams is not good enough to beat the best teams in the NFL. So that's where we differ. They can't beat anybody. They could be most teams. They could be most of y'all out there, but they can't beat everybody. Let me just piggyback off your point. Beating the Arizona Cardinals, which I don't think is a tier 1 team because of the question marks of what would they look like in the postseason, Kyler Murray, Cliff Kingsbury, etc. And what we saw last night makes you wonder, how much should we give the Rams credit in the win over those same Cardinals? But that's not my initial point. My initial point is, God, those Rams, those Hollywood stars were shining yesterday, even on the road. But then, is that good enough to be top level, top tier? When you see Matthew Stafford have the game he had, when you see Cooper Kupp go out there and have a season high in receptions, when you see Odell Beckham have a season high in receptions, when you see Aaron Donald have a season high in sacks, and y'all still munching on y'all cuticles with no time remaining, hoping to make sure you win that game? A nail biter against a team that's not top elite? Oh, we made the same point. I just said it better. Here's the thing. These Rams when were they top tier? Preseason ranking, expectations, Matthew Stafford combined with Sean McVay, amazing, yes. Oh, after they beat Tampa Bay. Well, if we're going to go that far back, let's just also go as far back as when they got handled, chokehold by the Green Bay Packers midfield. Let's go back as far as when they lost to Tennessee without Derrick Henry. You start to look at this team in the film cycle of the last 4 games. They're 2-2. They're not even a winning team. You start looking at this team, you go a little farther back, they're 2-3. After the bye week, we were saying, what's going to happen? Oh, They beat Jacksonville. What does that do for you? Nothing. Oh, they beat Arizona. What does that do for you? Something, but not everything. It tells me that this team is close, but this best version of the Rams that we saw last night, still not good enough to beat the best teams.
I'm confused, Sel.
Let's go.
Confused how you would think so. We're going to talk more about this later, so I'm not going to spoil the show for y'all. But we know the Bucs are legitimate. You've been claiming the Bucs are legitimate. I've been claiming the Bucs are legitimate since last year. At the point in which you win the Super Bowl and you return all 22 starters, and we know you good. The Rams have beat the Bucs, who we know are legitimate by talent. The Rams have now also beaten the Cardinals, who we're not sure are legitimate by talent, but we know are legitimate by record, right? In the NFL, it's two things, right? Either we know you legit by your talent or we know you legit by your record. Some teams, their record is a little bit deceiving, good or bad. Some teams' record doesn't match as good as they are. Some teams' record is exaggerating how good they actually might be. So the Rams have beaten a great team in the Bucs by talent and a great team in the Cardinals by record. Thus, to me, they are a great team. I'm not going to say they are the greatest team, but if the Rams lost to the Packers, right? The Rams' most deafening loss is to that Packers team.
Or Tennessee.
And NFC. You could really argue that Niners.
We got options, though.
We do have options.
That's a problem. That's a problem.
But you lose by one possession to the Packers in Green Bay. I'm like, Sel, I can tolerate that, right? We talk about that Tennessee or that Niners or that Packers loss. Really, I'm looking at they were trying to figure out how are you going to utilize all these stars. You know what it is. If you get some sort of organ transplant, there comes a point in time where your body might reject that transplant. Or if it doesn't reject that transplant, there is an adjustment period of the body. Well, Von Miller, Odell Beckham, those are huge organ transplants now. Odell Beckham, a megastar, Hall of Fame by talent. Von Miller, Hall of Fame certified by production. So you got two major organs you're trying to transplant into the body of the Rams. It is no surprise that it was an adjustment period against the 49ers. No surprise it was an adjustment period against the Green Bay Packers. But now that performance yesterday told me these dudes are bona fide, big dog. Because when the Cardinals beat the Rams early on in the season, we said, wait, Cardinals are legit. But we said the Cardinals were legit because they beat the Rams. So that implied that we knew the Rams were legit. So if the Rams were legit because the Cardinals beat them, and the Rams have now beaten the Cardinals, who we gave legitimacy because the Cardinals once upon a time beat the Rams, then we cannot now deny the Rams' legitimacy. We knew the Rams were legit back then, and now the Rams have confirmed they're legit by their performance last night.
Oh, I see why you're confused. I respect that because you said two different things in two different laps. The first take, you were like, Arizona ain't all that. They ain't tier one. And I was like, yeah, I agree. Then the second one, you was like, we got to use Arizona to prop up the Rams.
I didn't say they're not
tier one. Well, they're tier one now, bottom of tier one.
Agreed.
Right? Okay, that's fine. I don't think you said that, but we're going to use them now to prop up the Rams? You can't do that because if in a series between these two teams, they play two games, obviously. And even though you say it's 1-1, it's not a tie. Arizona mollywopped the Rams when they beat them. And then when the Rams beat them, let's just say we were just sitting there saying, let's hope at the end of the game, even though it felt like the Rams had control for a lot of that game. So it's not the same. So we got to look at the complexion of the games to really get to it. Let's look deeper into the complexion of those games, shall we? Rams stars shined. Did they not? Cooper Kupp, yep. OBJ, yep. Sony Michel even looked good, yep. Matthew Stafford, obviously. On the other side of the ball, yeah, we saw my boy Aaron Donald balling out. Best he's looked this year. Okay. Let's go to the other side just to see if we win against the Arizona Cardinals or we just win against their uniforms and their colors because the players weren't really in there. That's when you have trouble. And I know that a lot of this is forced by what your opponent is doing and dictating. But Kyler Murray, did you have your second lowest passer rating of the season? Were you sacked the most you were sacked this year? Was James Conner held to his fewest since week 8 in yards? Was DeAndre Hopkins held to his season worst? Yeah, catch percentage. I respect all that. That means the Rams out there dictating turns. But now when we talk about a season where you won one, we won one, we beat you more than you beat us, but we didn't show up. Now what's going to happen? All I'm doing is projecting. What I saw from the Rams last night tells me that in a forecast of who the Rams really are, their best version, just not good enough.
I vehemently disagree.
I respect it.
Number one, the Rams did handle that game yesterday. The score is not indicative of who dominated that game, the entirety of that game.
Just like the Green Bay one wasn't indicative of how the Rams.
Sure.
But you bring up one possession.
I'll give you that.
All right, respect.
But the Rams did dominate that game yesterday.
Respect.
Furthermore, we got to remember the Rams played without all-pro cornerback Jalen Ramsey.
Oh, yeah.
Like we
Facts.
10 minutes into the show, and we haven't even mentioned the fact that Ramsey didn't play, and Tyler Higbee, the Rams' second best receiving option as it stands right now. Odell is probably ascending that ladder.
Yeah.
Tyler Higbee also didn't play.
Right.
So the Rams went to Arizona, dominated that game without an all-pro cornerback and a Pro Bowl caliber tight end. That, to me, is domination. Furthermore, I don't look at it like, well, we beat you worse than y'all beat us. A win is a win. Cardinals,
Do not say that.
Mollywop.
Do not come up here and be an analyst. Do not say a win is a win.
A win is
what?
A win
If I beat you by 45 and I beat you by 1, you saying they're the same?
A win is a win in the sense that how many times have we seen it in several sports? NBA playoffs or NFL playoffs, NBA regular season, NFL regular season.
You got evidence.
We might see the Warriors get blown out by 25 against the Cavs. And then the next game they blow the Cavs out by 25. At the end of the day, a win is a win when it comes down to two teams playing each other neck and neck. The Rams have shown they can beat the Bucs. They've shown they can beat the Cardinals. They haven't shown they can beat the Packers. But if you can beat the Bucs and you can beat the Cardinals, and tier one in my mind of the NFC is Packers, Bucs, Cardinals, Rams. The Rams are one of those teams. They make up a quarter of it, and they've beaten the other 2 quarters of it. So that's 75% of tier one in my mind. Only team the Rams haven't shown that they can beat is the Packers, and I would attribute that more so to trying to figure out where does Odell Beckham fall in line in the team, but also you got to go to Green Bay. Vegas, in and of itself, says traveling from one coast to another is worth 3 points. So you got to go to Green Bay. To me, the Rams are capable of beating anybody. Will they beat anybody? No. But it's all about, are you capable of doing it? And if you're capable of doing it, I got faith in you.
See, this is why I don't have that faith. But look, I'm not going to argue what you believe. I'm just arguing what you're seeing and making your projections off of. But believe what you want to believe. The Rams allowed the most yards in the game since the last time they played the Cardinals. So I know Jalen Ramsey wasn't there, but last time he was there, they still allowed a ton of yards. What does that mean? Well, time of possession still went to the Cardinals. All the yards went to the Cardinals, and the Cardinals didn't play their game. What does that tell me? You look at the Rams and you say, what do I hang my hat on? Well, I don't hang my hat on the running game. Why? Because they were held to under 100 yards once again, 4 out of the last 5 games. Oh, I hang my hat on this passing game. And this is where I'm coming in for the kill. You know, if you go out there and say Cooper Kupp, that's the best receiver in the league this year, receptions leader, right? And Cooper Kupp being our receptions leader is going to lead us to the promised land. Now, we know wide receivers, outside of Jerry Rice, Michael Irvin, when are they leading you to the promised land? When are they leading you to hoisting a Lombardi trophy? Matter of fact, if you are the receptions leader, how about this for some fun facts? You know the last time a receptions leader won a Super Bowl? You got to go back to 1983, Todd Christensen, L.A. Raiders. That means that this whole Cooper Kupp, Matthew Stafford connection is great, but I think we're advertising it as it's going to make this team get over the hump. You don't get over the hump with a receptions leader. You get over the hump by playing stout defense. You get over the hump by running the football, and you get over the hump by being able to deal with adversity and conditions like traveling to Green Bay. The point being, I give you the Rams. They look good. They LA. They sizzle. But when it comes to that deep substance that we look for in the playoffs and the teams that really get over the hump, don't see it yet.
What's interesting, though, is the Rams they don't need to get over the hump. They're on top of it. Right? Like the Rams were in the Super Bowl 3 years ago. That's the hump. Like that's not getting over the hump. Like the Rams are already on the top of the hump.
They had a quarterback in that moment who had no playoff experience. And now they have a quarterback who's had playoff experience, and in all those performances came up short. I'd rather the guy who hasn't had nothing on his resume, because then it's like, you know what? Let's see what you're about, Kyler Murray, versus the guy who every time I see you there, oh, man, for some reason, you're coming up short.
Not if you have a different coach. Not if you have a coach that's well-versed. Like, give me experience. No, I mean, NFL history shows us, give me failed experience over no experience. Peyton Manning failed experience. Patrick Mahomes failed experience. Tom Brady was an experience, no failed experience, but he was sitting behind Bledsoe.
He had nothing. He just went and did it.
But give me failed experience like a Ben Roethlisberger over no experience. I think NFL history in totality will show us that. But I don't think the Rams win a Super Bowl through Cooper Kupp. I think the Rams win a Super Bowl through their offense. At the point in which last night...
But how? How through the offense if the running game's not there? Not to the level you would want it. And if you're not going to run it through Cooper Kupp, what, OBJ?
I think the trifecta, right? If you look at the recipe for the Chiefs, the year the Chiefs beat the Niners, it wasn't just Tyreek. It wasn't just Travis Kelce, and it surely wasn't the running backs. Yeah. It was a combination of Tyreek, Travis Kelce, Sammy Watkins, plus a little running game sprinkled in. If Sony Michel does what he did last night, and he ain't even need to do that much, but if he gives them 50 to 75 yards, that's going to be cool. If Odell Beckham, Van Jefferson, Cooper Kupp, Tyler Higbee collectively contribute, realistically, offensively and defensively, the Rams probably have the best roster in the National Football League. They might not have the most depth, but they have the best roster. Why? Because they have the best defensive player on any given Sunday, maybe the two best defensive players on any given Sunday. Cowboys have Parsons. Rams have Donald and Ramsey. Browns have Miles. Rams have Darnold and Ramsey. Steelers have Watt. Rams still have Donald and Ramsey. Then on any given Sunday, they have the most talented quarterback as far as arm talent. That you saw that incredible throw Justin Herbert made on Sunday. You were there. You witnessed it. That throw Matthew Stafford made, I would rival with that throw that Justin Herbert made. Plus, receiving core, Odell, Van, Kupp, and Higbee, I think that can rival the Bucs, that can rival the Cowboys. So any given Sunday, Rams have the most talent or just as talented. What's holding them back, Stafford?
What's holding them back is the fact that you just changed the way that they're going to have to attack it in the postseason because Cooper Kupp is getting them through in the regular season. What's holding them back is everything that you just added up. I know you don't drink, but you just basically gave me a Long Island. And, boy, it's a little bit of this, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Not necessarily the best tasting, but it's going to hit you. That's the problem. The Rams are going to try and reconfigure all this, and it's going to hit them. Some teams out there, New England, some teams out there, Green Bay, some teams out there, Tampa Bay, knows their style, already has let that concrete harden. And then when that meets you in the postseason, the Rams are going to be lit. Not the good way, though. Coming up, the Chiefs and Patriots are both red hot. We'll tell you which team we're more sold on in the AFC. But first, is trouble brewing in Cleveland for Baker Mayfield after his latest comments? Get to the bottom of all that. Next, don't speak for yourself. I'll take a Long Island, too. The Browns beat the Ravens Sunday, but there's still some drama in Cleveland, y'all. Baker Mayfield talked about the offensive struggles before the win, saying, quote, "There's been a lot of internal things. It hasn't been just outside noise." Reports also said there's been disconnect between Baker and Kevin Stefanski, the head coach. Addressed it yesterday. Listen to this.
I'm not sure exactly what that's referring to, Mary Kay. I talk to Baker every week, every day. So I think we got a good line of communication. But, I think we just all, coaches, players, as we move forward with all these big games, AFC opponent this week, our focus is always going to be just on the same page and doing what we need to do to go get a victory.
My. Spicy Acho. Is there trouble brewing for Cleveland with Baker?
Absolutely not. So I had an epiphany this weekend when I was watching not the Browns game, but the post game for the Browns. I had an epiphany, and it made every confusion and complication for the Browns and Baker make sense. These next 17 seconds are going to explain more than the Browns can in 17 games. Can we roll this down from the post game?
Oh, my.
That's the smart part. A smart, tough, accountable, resilient team. And we need that resiliency. We need it. That's what the NFL is, guys. It's never easy, okay? It never is, all right? It's hard. And when it's hard, what do we say when it's hard, Case? Good.
Oh, yeah. Why you text me then? I see it.
Every single confusion should now be clear for the Browns. Why do they keep playing Baker Mayfield? Why hasn't Baker been benched? What's Kevin Stefanski's obsession with Baker Mayfield? It's abundantly clear, and I haven't been in the Browns locker room, but I do know coaches. It's abundantly clear that Kevin Stefanski wants stars in Cleveland. Smart, tough, accountable, resilient. That was what he said post-game, and he said it as if that was the team's mantra. Every team has a mantra. You've been on several teams. So Kevin Stefanski is looking for stars, smart, tough, accountable, resilient. It also appears that the team quote is, when things get hard, we're good. Baker Mayfield has proved all season to be tough, accountable, and resilient. Y'all can question if he's been smart, but I'm sure in Kevin Stefanski's eyes, he's been smart, tough, accountable, and resilient. He's been a star to Kevin Stefanski. Baker Mayfield has also proven that he's tough. And it appears that Kevin Stefanski's team motto, when things get tough, were good. When I heard that 17-second post-game clip, it all made sense. Browns don't have any trouble. Why? Because Baker Mayfield is paying Kevin Stefanski in the love language he appreciates most. Love languages, we know all about them. Acts of service, gifts, physical touch, words of affirmation, quality time. To some individual who appreciates gifts, you might be appalled when you're like, yo, but y'all don't spend no time together. He's rude to you, he doesn't touch you at all, and he's not even affirming. Yeah, but he buys me gifts every day. So to someone like me that doesn't appreciate gifts, I'd be confused. Why do you engage in that relationship with somebody who spends no time with you, isn't affirming, no physical touch, etc.? Because that's a love language that they appreciate that I might not. We, as fans, analysts, haven't realized that Baker Mayfield is paying Stefanski in the language in which Stefanski clearly appreciates most, based off smart, tough, accountable, resilient. Does it make sense to me all the time? No. I might want a higher completion percentage. I might want more passing touchdowns. I might want less interceptions. I'm sure Kevin Stefanski would additionally like all those things as well. But based on that post-game presser, not even post-game presser, the intimacy of the locker room, where Kevin Stefanski is reading off to his team the team motto. He's reading off to the team's company policy, if you will. It appears Baker falls in line without all of that. That was the epiphany I had, and that let me realize, wait a second. Stefanski is actually pleased enough with Baker Mayfield because Baker's paying Stefanski in the manner in which Stefanski receives, although you and I might not receive it that way.
Boy, you made that take work. But now I know why you didn't text me, because you knew I wouldn't agree all the way with that take. I didn't read that from that moment, but I'm going to get to that moment very shortly. There's trouble brewing in Cleveland. And let me tell you that. You can only suppress what you really want for so long. What do we always say about war? Can't be avoided, just postponed. And I think Kevin Stefanski's a little tired of hitting the snooze button on this war. Let's talk about the fact that there is something brewing. And I know I don't like coffee, and if I do, I like it cold. I don't like hot coffee, right? But I do know how to make hot coffee. And I do also know when you're boiling something. Let's talk about something I love to boil, hot dogs. People say that's nasty. I say it's still good to me. And I noticed one thing about when you're boiling hot dogs, you got the water in the pan and you got it on for about 5-10 minutes. You're like, man, when is it going to bubble up? When is it going to start bubbling, right? Put your finger in there before you see a bubble. It's still hot. That's the situation in Cleveland. Y'all waiting for it to bubble up. Y'all waiting to see and hear it all. Oh, put your finger in there right now. It's already hot. Because Kevin Stefanski is sitting there like, I got everything I need except the most important thing. Woo, you ever been in that relationship? I'm talking about the relationship where the kids are beautiful and happy. Man, you got an amazing job. You got a tremendous home. You got a tremendous lifestyle. But honey's not too happy. She doesn't like to drive. She doesn't like everything. She doesn't feel like she has a say. Whatever it may be, your companion's sitting there like, man, and you sitting there like, man, happy wife, happy life. But wifey ain't happy. I think that's what we're looking at right now with the Cleveland situation. Kevin Stefanski is saying things, and he doesn't even have to say the name to know what he's talking about. But let's run that presser one more time. I'm going to text you after this presser and tell me what you hear. Run it back one more time, Colvin. Let's hear it.
That's the smart part, a smart, tough, accountable, resilient team. And we need that resiliency. We need it. That's what the NFL is, guys. It's never easy, okay? It never is, all right? It's hard. And when it's hard, what do we say when it's hard, Case? Good.
Who did he say? Who did he ask?
Interesting.
His ex, his side piece, the one he really wants. The one is college sweetheart, whatever you want to call him. Case, first of all, I ain't been in the locker room lately, but I know when I was in the locker room, coach, it's a lot of starters around here. You're going to go pick Case to all of a sudden give the point of emphasis for what our company slogan is? Case? Even if Case knows it, which we all know it, is Case the one to really go out there and exhibit it? You know why he's not? Because he ain't the one putting in the work. So this tells me right now, Kevin Stefanski just tired. I done did everything. I checked every box except the most important one. And I need you to check it, but you're not. So guess what, Baker? Guess what, world? I'm going to put y'all finger in this water. Tell me if it's brewing. Tell me if it's hot or not.
I think it's hot, but I think water's hot in every NFL organization right now. I think there's probably a little bit of turmoil within every locker room. It just may not be at the quarterback position.
Okay.
But there's turmoil within every locker room.
Little bubbles everywhere?
Little bubbles everywhere.
Right. Let's go.
You bring up a great point. I'm like, why did he shout out Case? Now, I don't see the video. I didn't see the vantage point. I don't even know if Baker was there. Typically, quarterbacks after a win, they're on the field doing interviews post-game with whoever's there, et cetera. Baker may have still been out. But I do understand this much. Baker's fine as long as they keep winning. Point blank, period.
Fine as defined as what?
Fine as defined as going to be there next year, obviously, because they already picked up that fifth-year option.
That part.
Paying them $18, I believe, million going into next year. So as there's trouble, but the trouble will amount to nothing. Like the Browns have agreed, like several couples I've heard, don't use the D word. I think you told me that, right? Divorce.
Oh, okay. Well,
don't
drop that.
The Browns have agreed, like, we're not going to use that word. Baker, you're not leaving.
Right.
Stefanski, you're not leaving. We're here.
Yeah.
Trouble may brew. We may raise our voices. We may leave the club in different cars. I may call an Uber. You may walk.
Yeah.
But ultimately speaking, we are not getting divorced. We're in it for the long haul. I get what Baker was saying, Sel, because Baker's like, we've had internal issues. They have. Odell Beckham's dad popped up on Instagram.
Okay.
Kareem Hunt's dad popped up on Facebook. When people's parents speak, as if though, to some degree, they are speaking as well. So the Browns' issues have been internal. I get all that. So Baker's not lying. I just know trouble's not brewing because, to me, when we speak of trouble brewing, is it ever going to turn into a boil? It's one thing if that hot water turns into a boil, but if it just stays hot, it really ain't doing nothing. So, sure, it can brew all at once, but the issues in Cleveland are never going to actually amount to anything as it pertains to Baker Mayfield. Baker's good. Browns are winning. It looks like they're en route to the playoffs once again.
They may make the playoffs. They may not make the playoffs. But whatever they accomplish, they know that they're doing it the hard way. They know that this is not the easiest path of least resistance. They know that right now we have a quarterback that is just making life a little more difficult than necessary. Whether it is the internal issues of other players and other family members of players calling out Baker Mayfield. Only one common denominator, Baker Mayfield. If it is Kevin Stefanski saying, I don't know what Baker's talking about. First of all, when a coach says, I don't know what he's talking about, that means the coach wants the public to start to discover what he's talking about instead of handling it like Bill Belichick or all the other professional coaches, including Kevin Stefanski, when he doesn't want smoke. He'll say, we talk every week, so we're good. But he didn't say that. He said, I don't know what he's talking about. That lets you know he wants some smoke. He wants to meet Baker at the flagpole because he's tired of it, man. And it's just that simple. Where was Baker Mayfield in that video? No one saw him. Coven said he was doing a Progressive commercial. I don't know. But you know what the point is? I love when coaches do, what you say, he said the STAR slogan, right? Y'all got to understand what's really happening right now in today's NFL. With the new world, the new media, the Web 3.0, Web 3.0, whatever you want to call it, the podium is no longer at the podium. It's right after the game in that intimate setting you're talking about where we are in the game, then we walk off the field, we walk into a locker room, and there are more cameras than people, and we're acting like this is now the podium. Coaches give that speech, which I don't think is really authentic, at that moment now. Because they know there are more cameras than players right here. So they're like, let me just get this out right now. And I'm telling you, Kevin Stefanski had multiple times to suppress this, but he didn't suppress this. The internal issues are not only with players and their family members. It's not only between Kevin Stefanski and Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield is having internal issues in terms of where's my appreciation for who I am as a player. As you said yesterday, when are we going to reset who Baker Mayfield is to this organization and to the world? Because right now, the way he's being treated, including by his head coach, doesn't seem like everybody's on the same page. Coming up, Patriots and Chiefs, both leading the pack in the AFC right now. Mark Sanchez is coming, and he's going to help us answer which team we're sold on. I said time. Good Lord. Next, Speak for Yourself. Keep reading, Wiley. Keep reading. Elite quarterbacks take center stage on Thursday Night Football. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs take on Justin Herbert and my Chargers. I'm going to be in the building, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on Fox NFL Network, streaming on Prime Video or My Season Tickets. That's right. Welcome back. Joined now by a friend of the program, Fox NFL analyst, Mark Simpson.
Did you have to read friend of the program? You don't just feel that? He had to read it.
Watch this next word. It's time for a rewarding performance. Hey, dog, that's all I do. Brought to you by the Capital One Spark Cash Plus card. No, you're not a friend. You on every show. I see you cheating on us. Patrick Mahomes' Chiefs are one of the hottest teams in the NFL with 6 straight wins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But Mac Jones, who? Mac Jones and his Patriots are currently even hotter right now with 7 straight wins and are the top seed in the AFC. So, Acho, are you more sold on the Patriots or Chiefs?
Can we establish the fact that Mark Sanchez is a side chick of the program?
Man,
a loyal side chick.
He that homegirl that Fox knows. Like, oh, yeah. Holla at Mark. I'm sorry.
Anyway, I'm much more sold on the Chiefs than I am Mark Sanchez.
No, hit Mark up. He cool.
Golly. No, in all seriousness, your boy sold on the Chiefs. Much more sold on the Chiefs than I am on the Patriots. And it's very, very simple. Chiefs got the horses. At the end of the day, the Chiefs, I'm glad Sanchez is here because it's story time. Chiefs have the horses. Sanchez was a part of the Eagles 2014. I got there 1 year before Sanchez. I was there in 13. My dog showed up in 2014. 2014, we had horses now. Deshaun Jackson. Started that year. He took over maybe week 4, week 5 for my dog Nick Foles. But we had horses. Deshaun Jackson. Jeremy Maclin, LaShawn McCoy, Jason Peters, a healthy young Jason Peters.
Kelsey Ertz. Ertz. And
Jason Kelsey at center. Zach Ertz at tight end. Horses.
Selleck.
Brent Selleck. We had all the horses. 10-6 that year. Good enough. We were solid. Boy.
What happened?
When I tell you we got rid of all them horses, when I tell you LaShawn McCoy went to Buffalo Bills, when I tell you that Jeremy Maclin went to the Chiefs, when I tell you Deshaun Jackson went to Washington, and 2015 Chip Kelly went 6-9 or 6-10, 6-9 before getting fired, because we thought we had scheme. Chill, no shade yet. No shade is coming. We thought that scheme could outdo horses.
Okay.
And what we learned very quickly, very abruptly, is horses plus scheme will kill scheme alone, and horses might just be able to beat scheme by itself. The Patriots have an incredible scheme. We all know that, particularly defensively. But what it comes down to is the Patriots just don't have the same horses that the Chiefs have. Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Mecole Hardman, Patrick Mahomes.
Horses.
They just don't have the same horses. While I love Bill Belichick, Bill Belichick.
You better.
Obviously, is a defensive mind more than anything, but love him as a head coach. I love Matthew Slater. People don't give him enough credit. Special teams. Patriots, special teams. I love Matthew Slater. Should be a first ballot Hall of Famer. I love the Patriots defense. Dante Hightower, J.C. Jackson, Devin McCourty. I love all them cats. But they don't have the horses on offense to get the job done, in my mind, if push comes to shove. Love the Patriots, but I like the Chiefs and love the Chiefs a whole lot more.
Made a case. We're going to get back to those horses, all right? But let me ride on a different horse. Let me ride with these Patriots.
Okay.
Chiefs, still too shaky for me in terms of them having the confidence in their blueprint and executing that same blueprint. Chiefs are getting the right answers lately. I give them that. The Patriots are getting more of the right answers of late, but they're both getting it right. There's only one difference. When I look at the Chiefs and I look at the Patriots turning their assignments, I'm like, the Patriots are showing me their work. This is exactly what they designed to do. This is exactly how you methodically get to that answer. Then I look at the Chiefs, and I'm like, y'all got it right, but how the hell y'all getting it right? Oh, it's the defense now? You got one player on the other side of the ball, former MVP, who's a $500 million player, and you're saying, we're not riding that horse. Oh, interesting. Well, how y'all get here? That's my problem. You're along for the ride, but you're supposed to be driving. What the hell are the Chiefs going to do when they meet a team that's like, say what you want. We ain't got those extremes. We don't have that flash. We don't have that brilliance in that next level. As things fall off me because I'm so amazing right now in this moment. But, okay, that's fine. You ever get hit with a finger? You ever get hit with a fist? When it's tightly balled, it's tightly wound, that's the Patriots saying it ain't all flashy. When you look at these horses, looks good all spliced up, but it's not going to have the same impact. I'm sorry. I'm sold on consistency. I'm sold on the design and the blueprint. That's the Patriots.
I want to go there so bad because I love it. I respect it. They're plus 10 in turnover margin.
Oh, we're going to get you.
I want to go with the Pats. Plus 11.5 in point differential. Mac Jones, third in completion percentage. I love him. I love everything. I just feel like the tie,
big butt.
The tie has to go to the Chiefs. It just has to go to the Chiefs.
How? Why?
You know when people are like scarred from their own experience, right? So we make the playoffs my rookie year in 2009. Best run game in the league. Best defense in the league. We're rolling. At a certain point, down the stretch, you got to score points, dude.
Yes,
You just got to outlast another team and score a couple more points. When your defense gives up a few, when it's not all turnovers and give you a short field, you got to have guys that are going to make those explosive splash plays. And the Patriots have shown me they can do it, but they don't have, like you said, the horses. They don't have a 100-yard receiver all year so far. I mean, that's like, you need a guy to go off in one of these games. Somebody has to show up and make a play, make a big play. And I just don't see that. Here's my only thing. I'd rather say to a stable of really good horses, I'd rather say, whoa, and hold them back. Hey, Patrick Mahomes, relax. Let's stop giving the ball away. Don't give away any freebies. Whoa. Then say, hey, guys, I don't know who can make a play in here, but sick them. You know what I'm saying? That's just a little too much for me. I don't know if they have the juice to make it to that next level. They're close.
Very close.
And I'd say the Chiefs edge out the Pats in this discussion. I mean, we're talking like a nose hair.
And realistically, those two teams would have to meet in the AFC Championship game. We've never seen a rookie quarterback advance to the Super Bowl. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong on desk in my ear, but we've never seen a rookie quarterback advance to the Super Bowl. So that would mean that Mac Jones is about to do history. Now, if anybody could do it, Bill Belichick can.
You already know.
We've just never seen it happen.
And this ruins my prediction. I said Pats, Bucks, Super Bowl, LA.
It is a sexy prediction.
Awesome.
But we've never seen it happen. I'm not going to bank on it happening yet. I love Marcellus Wiley school analogy because that is true. Sometimes you turn in your work and you just lucked into a right answer. Sometimes you know exactly what you were doing. But let me see your analogy and raise you.
Let's go.
Casino.
One upper.
Hey, I know. Look, he couldn't just say different.
I got to raise you.
All right, raise me then.
Taking you.
Take this money.
Sanchez and I, we didn't just do work on the football field. My dog did work in the Sugar House, too. Sugar House Casino in Philadelphia.
Double down, baby. Double down.
Don't act like you weren't with me on the blackjack tables. Okay, I got receipts. Don't try to act brand new on this show. Okay, thank you. So I'm putting his business out there. We would be at the casino at times and sell. There are some times where you got a bad hand and somehow you still win. You might be sitting there with a 16, dealer showing a face card, and somehow he busts and you win. And you're like, how in the facts? I'll take it. It also leads you to believe if you win 6 hands in a row, Chiefs have won, 6 games in a row, and you realize you won some games that you didn't even have winning hands or winning performances, boy, y'all better be ready for when I start having these winning performances. Now I'm really gonna smack you. The Chiefs have won 6 games in a row. And to your point, they haven't even had Patrick Mahomes a ton of winning performances. He had a winning performance against the Raiders 3 weeks ago. He had a winning performance against the Raiders last week. But it's not like Patrick Mahomes has had a ton of winning performances, yet has still won 6 games in a row. I don't look at that pessimistically. I look at that optimistically and say, when Patrick Mahomes consistently puts them together, like in the casino, when I consistently put them together, boy, I'm going to smack you. So I love your analogy. I just look at it optimistically as opposed to pessimistically because Patrick Mahomes knows the answer to the question. He knows the answer to that test question. He knows how to show his work. He just hasn't been showing his work. Let him start showing his work, Marcellus Wiley. It's a different story, big dog.
That defense is playing better, too. I mean, with Hitchens back, that's a huge difference.
Chris Jones healthy?
Yeah. I'm sorry that example is not going to help me. I'm not a gambler, but I do know that that's some losing money right there. Let me hit you with these facts right here. If you look at the two teams, Mark, I love you, big dog, but you know me, man. I got a lot of kids, and I don't have a lot of time. But when I go in the library, I find exactly what I'm looking for. People talk about the horses, right? And those horses leads to points, right? And I wonder how many points the Chiefs are averaging this year. 27.0. Why does that matter? Because the Patriots are averaging 26.9. You ever go to a horse?
Got more points.
0.1, yeah. I've never seen that scoreboard, but you beaten us. The point is, don't underestimate the horses. They're Clydesdales, I get it. Right. Not thoroughbreds in New England, but they're still going out there and scoring points. But let's get deeper than that. Postseason, playoff football. You got to be able to run the ball. Who runs the ball better?
Do you? Chiefs didn't the year they won the Super Bowl.
Hold on. Yeah.
Eagles
the year
they won the Super
It's
Bowl.
funny. We're going to get back to the year they didn't win the Super Bowl. I'm talking about this team matching against the Patriots. I'm going to get back to that point. That's a great point. Who has a better defense? Who has a better scoring defense? Who gets more sacks? More takeaways? Like every single thing that coach says, if we win this category.
Yes, defensive categories.
Yes, and offensively, we're the same. And more importantly, our quarterback is outperforming your quarterback. Patrick Mahomes
Don't do that.
Touchdowns, interceptions, respect. He has more touchdowns, more interceptions. But the point is, passer rating, I'm not going to go there, but we know who has a higher passer rating. You just said completion percentage. We already know who has a higher one. All I'm saying is, when you see Belichick and you're going to try to out-defense him with your defense, good luck with that. At best, you're hoping for a draw. But when you come in with one hand tied behind your back because your horses are not running like they're supposed to run, stop assuming that Patrick Mahomes has figured it out. You get 5 touchdowns. I
never said that.
I know he did. 5 touchdowns. He knows the answer against the Raiders. Everybody else, I'm kind of figuring it out. I need more time, teacher. 5 touchdowns against the Raiders. Everybody else, really, I need some more time, teacher. Then Belichick comes in and said, this ain't no multiple choice. This ain't no true false. I need to see your work. And I see him against Bill Belichick, 0-1 in the playoffs, 2-2 versus Belichick in his career. I don't see where you have so much confidence in him versus this team.
They did get him early in the season where Belichick tends to lose games, so I'll give him that. I might be flipping to the other side.
Come on over here.
Pat Stuck. All I'm saying is this is one of the best questions since I've been on the show that's here because it's such a debate and discussion sparking question because they are really close. The Chiefs are definitely the sexier pick.
Sexy.
But there is this consistency with New England. This, in any situation, we'll grind it out. We will outlast you. You will screw it up before we do mentality. And I can appreciate that. There's a soft spot in my heart for that approach. So, it's 6 one way, half a dozen the other, man.
My only one final little plea to the table. My final plea is
your last card.
We know
I'll flip back, so go ahead.
Facts.
In the playoffs, it typically comes down to one play by the quarterback. Let's go back to Chiefs versus Browns last year playoffs. Patrick Mahomes gets knocked out. Was it Chad Henne who comes in, 4th and 1? Chad Henne on a 4th and 1. We didn't even know Andy Reid was going to go for it. Yeah. He runs a quick sprint out right. Tyreek Hill, I think. Sprint right, trips right, sprint right, I think he was. His Tyreek Hill, one play. Buccaneers, Packers. 3rd and 8. 3rd and 8, Rodgers. You got to run it.
You got to do it.
Throw it. What you going to do? One play.
Yeah.
Typically, we know in the playoffs, not necessarily the Super Bowl. Super Bowl, they can be blowouts, it can be whatever. But getting there, it comes down to one play by the quarterback. What quarterback do you trust to make that one play? At the end of the day, Marcellus Wiley, I would be outside my mind to say that I trust Mac Jones, who's only had, I believe, 1 300-yard game this season, maybe 2 to Patrick Mahomes' 5. I'd be outside my mind to say that Mac Jones, who has 1 game with 3 touchdowns, no picks, whereas Patrick Mahomes has 2 5-touchdown games. I'd be outside my mind to say, knowing that playoff games come down to one play by a quarterback, typically, then I'm going to go with Mac Jones.
So you would...
Experience-wise, I understand that.
But you're not going Mac Jones versus Patrick Mahomes. You're going Patrick Mahomes versus Bill Belichick. And Bill Belichick is sitting there like, are you sure that you want to bet on Patrick Mahomes? And this version of Patrick Mahomes, which is the worst version we've seen of Patrick Mahomes.
Correct.
But let's talk about the greatest version of Patrick Mahomes, who still is 0-1 in the playoffs against Belichick, 2-2 in his career. First game, 352 yards passing. Second game, 295. Third game, 283. Fourth game, 236. That's trending the wrong way. And that was against a better version in Patrick Mahomes. You keep going to casino talking about, I'm winning, but I'm getting these bad cards. You better get up. Meet me at the club.
Check the house, and the house always wins.
And the dynasty continues. Coming up, Aaron Rodgers is the reigning MVP, but we'll tell you if he will be the MVP favorite this season without the drama. Oh, that's a good question. That's next on Speak for Yourself. Aaron Rodgers coming off a 4-touchdown performance against the Bears. Thrown 27 touchdowns with only 4 interceptions. Lord. And his Packers are on top in the NFC. Rodgers is the reigning MVP and currently has the second best MVP odds, according to Fox Bet Sportsbook, right behind Tom Brady. Again, Mark is back, but Acho. Will Rodgers be the MVP favorite without the drama?
Absolutely. First things first, Aaron Rodgers, only quarterback, 25-plus touchdowns, 4 less interceptions. So let's identify he's been just as great or just as efficient as he's always been. Other thing, common sense. If Aaron Rodgers doesn't have the drama, that implies that he doesn't have COVID, because without getting COVID, we wouldn't have heard of being immunized. So if he never gets COVID, he plays an additional game. He plays an additional game, more stats, more yards, more touchdowns. He's closer to Tom Brady. So we also understand that. But realizing, even with the drama, Packers are still the number 1 seed in the tougher conference of football this year, the NFC. So Aaron Rodgers is commanding the better team. Aaron Rodgers has been just as good as any player in the National Football League. And Aaron Rodgers, my final point, and this is the greatest one I look at, is doing it with less. That's what it comes down to. Like, Devontae Adams is a beast. Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, beast. But you still got Leonard, with Tom Brady, Leonard Fournette, Rob Gronkowski, Antonio Brown when he's not messing around and out, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. Like, you still have a plethora to pull from, as opposed to Aaron Rodgers, who's doing it with Devontae Adams, Lazard, MVS, Aaron Jones. So Aaron Rodgers,
guy from Long Beach Poly, Mercedes Lewis.
Yo, my dog. That's my big dog. Ooh,
45 years old, still playing?
Hey, I played against him his rookie year. He's still tilting and still balling. Boy, that boy can block.
He's gigantic.
Oh, yeah. I retired for a reason. It's
But
like,
to
Lord.
me, it's very clear. Aaron Rodgers, no drama, MVP favorite.
Oh, man. I knew you guys would take the bait. You know damn well he wouldn't win the MVP this year with or without the drama. But let me tell you how the drama actually helps him and still hurts him in the same respect. Follow me here. He's not winning MVP just because of performance. Now, the drama wasn't about performance. Or unless you want to say a performance in street clothes or a performance in Hawaii on vacation or a performance when you're at a mic or on an interview. That's not performance. Aaron Rodgers just magnified his offseason by saying, you guys want to scrutinize me, but also give me more attention. So everyone was sitting there trying to push him down, but paying attention to Aaron Rodgers coming into the season. What happens? Oh, man, you never get a second chance to make a first impression, big dog. And week one happens. Week one is not the offseason. Week one is not the drama. Week one is the performance. And we ain't got on street clothes anymore. So that's what killed Aaron Rodgers, is everyone was sitting there pointing at him, bullseye on your chest. You could easily flip that around if you live up to that moment. Kind of reminds me of Shaqiri we were talking about. Hey, say what you want. Everybody watch. Who didn't watch after the Olympics Shaqiri out there? Track and field. There he goes.
It was
He got in trouble for the lead thing. And then
it was 100 meters.
Right.
So you run straight.
Right.
You make a couple
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
It felt like I saw more people watch her post-Olympics than watch the Olympics, because it's like, oh, she said she back, we ready. It wasn't that was the problem, the talk and the drama. It was, how did you perform when we all were watching? That's why. Now, here's this talk about the performance, being real. Tom Brady's going to win it because Tom Brady has higher highs this season and also higher lows. Y'all catch that? Higher lows. That means when the bottom falls out, week one, Aaron Rodgers, that ain't happening with Tom Brady. It's a little better still for Tom Brady, even when he faces New England, his arch nemesis, and going back home, and Bill Belichick, who knows him, who helped build him. And then you talk about the highs. Oh, Brady's sitting there like, bruh, where your 5 touchdown, no interception game? I got a couple. My highs are higher, my lows are higher. So this conversation, really, I don't see how Aaron Rodgers could win the MVP, with or without drama.
Without the drama, I still think he's right. I think Brady would have won it. I really do. The drama doesn't help him because it's going to polarize some of those 50 voters, right? At least one of them is going to say, well, I didn't appreciate that. He's not going to get my vote. I could almost guarantee that, right? What I'd say about Tom Brady is he never had the one bad game, at least not yet, right? Like Aaron comes out of the blocks and just stinks up the joint in game one against the Saints, who aren't that good, right? So that would have hurt his voting if you just compared their resumes. And Tom Brady is just silly right now. I'm trying to figure it out. Like, he has an arm that's more live than it was 5-6 years ago. I mean, he's double clutching and looking off safeties and throwing just bombs down the field on go routes to Godwin and Evans and AB. Like, that shouldn't be happening at this age. His splash plays are even sexier than anybody's. Like, how does this happen? So I just feel like Tom's running away with this thing. Can't guarantee a lot in your life, but it's death, taxes, and Tom Brady just straight ball. So.
That's fair. Yeah. But, I mean, even listen when you said Godwins and Evans and AB.
Yes, he has more help, but
we're talking about two for sure Hall of Famers in Gronkowski and AB. He had AB for the first several games of the season. And 3 Hall of Famers if you include Mike Evans. I mean, think about who Tom Brady has out there. That Aaron Rodgers, to me, has the most impressive win of the entire football season. You go on a short week to Arizona without Devontae Adams, without Alan Lazard, without MVS, without Jair Alexander, he's hurt, without David Bakhtiari, been hurt all season, without your starting DC, without defensive end, Darius Smith, without your starting center, and you beat a sizzling hot Cardinals team. Most impressive win. He also has the most excusable loss. Whether you look at that loss to the Chiefs where he wasn't present, or you look at that week 1 loss, he didn't practice all offseason. So I feel you on Brady having higher individual highs.
Anybody's fault. for not practicing in the offseason, I'm going to change my vote because the guy decided not to practice?
Y'all got to listen to Acho, dog, because I do.
Ahead.
I love it. I just write down. He wouldn't get a word out if I was like, what does that mean?
Sorry, that's rude.
Come on.
But he does have he has the most impressive win all season going to Arizona. We know by far and away that's a more impressive win than anybody's pulled off all season long. Come on.
No, I can't. No. You went to broadcasting school.
Cowboys,
Which one?
Bucks over the Cowboys was a great win for Tom.
It was a good win. I would say it was a solid win, but who was he without?
I don't think you win MVP by just a moment. I don't think the M in MVP is called most. Like, who has the most moments? Who has higher highs? Who has higher lows?
Yeah.
And it's Tom Brady, man. Look, you also get graded against yourself.
True.
For anybody who's ever won an award, I'm assuming we all have because we made it to the top level. Right. But you know that when you win it that year, like your junior year in high school, you're like, oh, man, it's going to be hard next year because they looking around like, who else? Let's make another family happy, whatever it may be, right? And guess what? If you are Aaron Rodgers, you know damn well you got to have even better numbers than last year. And it's tough to beat when you're number one in completion percentage, passer rating, and passing touchdowns last year. But this year, you're 10th in something you were first in. You still got the highest passer rating, but you're 5th in passing touchdowns. And who has more passing touchdowns than you? Tom Brady. I'm just sorry, man. You look at there's some numbers. Failed to throw for more than 300 yards in 8 of his last 12 starts. Like, it's just, you start really looking at it, and this is not a slight to him. It's just most valuable player. When we look at Gronk's been in and out the lineup, in and out. AB's been in and out the lineup, out, maybe in and out the franchise now. We'll see how that plays going forward. Sorry, man, splitting hairs. It's got to be Brady.
We're obviously, this is like the top of the top, right? We're separating the best of the best. So to say one guy did this and one guy did that, I think is important to qualify.
It is.
Two of the best to ever do it.
It's interesting that without the drama, I don't think Aaron Rodgers has a bad first game. And without the drama, Aaron Rodgers doesn't miss the Chiefs game. Now we're really splitting hairs, but don't you say the drama was the offseason, right?
Yeah, but why are they connected? See, that's what they're connected in narrative, and it gives him a nice mattress to lie on.
Yeah.
But being real, Aaron Rodgers responds to adversity as great as anyone else.
Yeah.
So you can't say, hey, you know what, right now, I'm walking in the studio, and whatever happens over there, you know you play football. That's not the ball kicked off in the air. This is the moment of truth.
Right.
So you're saying, oh, Marcellus, you know what? He got stuck on the elevator. That's why he had a bad A block. Hey, bro, it's about the A block and the A block only. Football players, our ability to compartmentalize is one of our greatest attributes.
That's huge.
And I see it with Aaron Rodgers time and time again, so I can't give him the mulligan for week 1.
You don't think that without the offseason, all the BS and all the drama and not being there, that you don't think that had an implication on that week 1 performance? You look at them as isolated events?
I think he forced the ball downfield and then tried to get cute on a jump pass on a shallow cross and missed both of them. I think it was a bad decision to let that. I think he would agree it was a bad decision to let the deep ball go, and he either predetermined it or didn't see the safety against New Orleans. And then the shallow cross to Devontae, he tried to jump and do one of his patented passes that only he can do, and he was getting too much pressure and kind of got, a little funky and out of whack. I think that's what happened on those 2 plays. I don't think anything that happened in May, June, July affected those 2 plays because he's like a ninja, dude. That stuff doesn't bother him. You could tell.
Yeah, how many MVPs are really won or lost in the preseason?
Right.
Off-season. None of that. If anything, based on today's world, it gives you a megaphone because the kids tell me anything. They say, man, do something that goes viral. Pop off. And then when all the attention's on you, show off. But Aaron Rodgers popped off, and then week 1, we know what he didn't. He didn't show up. Coming up, the Rams got the big W over the Cardinals last night. Tell you if they're in the top tier in the NFC. And that's next on Speak for Yourself. Got that megaphone, didn't they? The NFC West battle in the desert last night, and the Rams came out on top. Matthew Stafford threw 3 touchdown passes. Aaron Donald added 3 sacks. And Kyler Murray threw 2 interceptions in the game. That led to 2 Rams touchdowns. So, Acho, are the Rams tier 1 in the NFC?
Absolutely. And they might be at the top of tier 1. I'm going to establish, at least for myself, tier 1, Packers, Bucks, Cardinals, Rams, Packers, Bucks, Cardinals, Rams. That is tier 1. And then you got the Cowboys and company. Packers, Bucks, Cardinals, Rams. The Rams have beaten the Bucks. The Rams have now beaten the Cardinals. If that's tier 1, you've beaten 50% of tier 1, and you make up a quarter of tier 1, then clearly you belong in tier 1. The Buccaneers, we know, were good, and we know they've been good. We can't act like the Bucs had to pick up steam, unlike last year. Last year, the Bucs had to figure out who they were. Tom Brady just showed up. Gronk just showed up. Fournette had just showed up. This year, Bucs were coming off a Super Bowl and returned all of their starters. So the Bucs from hello was already striking. Well, the Rams beat the Bucs early on in the season, about week 4. So they beat one of the best, if not the best teams in the NFL. Well, just yesterday, the Rams now dismantled the Cardinals, won the game by 7 points. But more importantly, you did it without Jalen Ramsey, all-pro cornerback, top 5 player in the league. You did it without Tyler Higbee, star tight end, Pro Bowl type of player. So if the Rams are capable of beating the Cardinals in Arizona without 2 of their best players, it tells me not only are they tier 1, they're at the top of tier 1. So I think the Rams finally proved to the world all cylinders are firing. They good to go, and they're absolutely tier 1.
They're absolutely tier 1? I don't have that confidence in them. I think if I really look into your take, I see that you're saying they're tier 1.9, 2.0. But you know what? If you don't look, if you're 30,000 feet up, you're just like, I think it's all the same. There's no way that they're tier 1. Let me tell you why. Tier 1 to me is just conference championships. I'm going to keep it simple. I'm not going to keep adding teams because I don't think all these teams, unless there's a third opponent in the conference championship, we can keep adding teams. The Cardinals, let's go there. And the Rams. And I can see why you have that marriage. Tier 1 is simple. It's the Green Bay Packers. It's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But let me make my argument instead of just telling you why I feel that way. Were they tier 1 when they had lost 3 straight? Were they tier 1 when they were going into their bye week? No, they weren't. Were they tier 1 when they came out the bye week and beat Jacksonville? No, they weren't. Were they tier 1 when they beat the Arizona Cardinals, who already had mollywopped them earlier in the season? Acho says yes. I say no. That's where we differ. Let's have some fun right there. Because if you beat Arizona in Arizona, and if you beat Arizona of late, you're not beating the same Arizona team that was advertised earlier in the season. Remember, they started off 7-0? Then they're 3-3 down that stretch. They're 3-3 at home. So if you're going to beat Arizona, it's 2 times to beat Arizona right now and at home. Whoa, look at your Rams lucked up and did both of those things. You got the cards you needed. I respect the Rams in that nail biter last night. That should have been a blowout because of the lack of performances by Kyler Murray. He didn't live up to standard. By DeAndre Hopkins, who had his worst catch percentage this year. By even James Conner, who didn't look the same, had his worst total since week 8. Like, they didn't show up. And they still had the Rams have the first play from scrimmage, a sack, last play from scrimmage, a sack, and it was a nail biter. All that adds up to me is I think you're giving the Cardinals too much credit in terms of who they are as a team. Therefore, you're giving the Rams too much sauce in victory over that same team.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
But we have to analyze, what's the best? Who are the best in the NFC? I understand that the Rams lost 3 consecutive games. Titans, Niners, Packers, all 3 of those teams in the playoffs. Let's not forget that the Buccaneers, who you have at the top of tier 1, lost 2 consecutive games to Washington and to the Saints. Saints led by Taylor Heineke. Saints led by, I don't even know who
What was his name?
Exactly. But Washington is led by Taylor Heineke. Saints are led by some combination of Taysom Hill, but remember, Jameis got hurt halfway during the game. So with that being said, I respect the Packers, even though the Packers, obviously I respect them being tier 1, but I respect the Rams' 3 losses to the Titans, the 49ers, and the Green Bay Packers more than I respect the Bucs' 2 losses.
I get it.
To the Saints and the Bucs' other loss to Washington. So if we're really trying to split hairs, which we don't even need to do because I think they both belong in the same tier, those 3 losses that the Rams have, Sel, are more respectable than those 2 losses back-to-back that the Bucs have. So you really have no valid reason to put the Bucs in tier 1 and not put the Rams in tier 1, even though the Rams beat the Bucs. The Bucs have 1 less loss than the Rams, but the Bucs' 2 losses are worse than the Rams' 3 losses during their streak of losses.
Yeah, but those are not metrics for me in terms of who'd you lose to, are they worse than right now? Because when I say tier 1, this is about my projection. This is about the teams that's going to be there at the end. If that's not the case, then any team on a win streak, we're sitting there saying it. The Dallas Cowboys sputtering of late, right? They were a tier 1 team. To me, they're closer to what the Rams are, but the Dallas Cowboys no longer a tier 1 team. You can move into tier 1, you can move out of tier 1. Green Bay, Tampa Bay, y'all staying in tier 1. NFC Championship game rematch right there. But let's talk about it. If you look at the Rams right now, who have a good team, good offense, led by their receiving core, led by their passing attack, no running attack to really be proud of. And then you look at them defensively and they have stars. But those same stars have come up short in moments to the point of the games that they lost. So if you look at the Rams, they were tier 1 win before the season because we thought of the marriage. They were tier 1 win when they beat Tampa Bay. Since that point, what win do you really hang your hat on? Arizona yesterday.
Bucks?
I said since Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, what have they done to get themselves into? Because they certainly did things to get themselves out of tier 1. You want to talk about it? How do you lose to Tennessee without? Okay, whatever. How you lose to San Francisco for? Whatever. How you get into these situations? Arizona drug them. And it was another thing about that, and let's go back in time shift. When Arizona drugged the Rams, I said they used up all they had to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Meanwhile, you look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on a 4-game win streak. You look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers win streak versus what the Rams win streak is. Is there a win streak when you win 2 in a row and one's Jacksonville? Help me out, Acho. I'm just saying I took them out of tier 1 and I can't put them back in for Jacksonville and Arizona.
It sounds like the only reason you have the extra faith in the Packers and the Bucks is because of what they did last year.
And quarterback play.
But Matthew Stafford has played just as well.
Project that, though.
He had 2 bad games. He had the bad game against the Titans. He had a bad game against the Niners. Be mindful of the fact, though, that the bad game against the Niners is when Van Jefferson goes out, Odell Beckham comes in. Like, we understand he had 2 bad games. Outside of that, Stafford has been playing not just great, he's about to set records for himself, and we know he has a fringe Hall of Fame career.
I like it.
But the Bucks haven't really done anything in season that the Rams haven't done.
Well,
the Packers haven't done anything
don't do that to the Bucks.
That the Rams haven't done.
The Bucks have a different standard. The Bucks won a Super Bowl last year, and they're having a better season this year. So you have to marry the two. This is a better version of a team that just won it all. Versus the Rams, if you want to forecast, what's Matthew Stafford going to do in the playoffs? If you want to use his resume, not so well. If you want to say, oh, he's different this year, we don't know. So that's why I'm saying they're not tier 1 yet, because what is Green Bay going to do when it comes down to the playoffs?
Let's wrap.
They're going to get there.
Let's talk playoffs.
Let's go.
The Rams still won a playoff game with Wolford at quarterback.
Yeah.
So if you're saying that the Bucks won the Super Bowl and look better than they did last year, Bucks are obviously tier 1. Rams were 1 game away from the NFC Championship game with John Wolford. So we have to assume that Matthew Stafford is at least a little bit better than John Wolford.
That's my thoughts, too. I'm with you.
If the Rams are better than they were last year, and they won a playoff game with John Wolford, and the Bucks are better than they were last year, the Rams were 1 game away from being tier 1 last year, big dog, and they were a quarterback away from being tier 1 last year. You have a quarterback. You were clearly significantly better than you were last year. There's truly no limiting factor now for the Rams. Your stars are clicking on all cylinders. Odell Beckham, 3 consecutive games, touchdowns. We'll get to that later.
Yeah, we get that.
Aaron Donald, 3 sacks. Von Miller finally getting after the quarterback. Sony Michel, 79 rushing yards, 12 carries. Cooper Kupp, 130 yards. Again, he had a touchdown. Van Jefferson, another touchdown. All your stars are shining bright. You were 1 game away from a championship game just last year. I think that the Rams, Packers, Bucks, we can mention them in the same breath. I respect the Cardinals because the Cardinals have earned my respect. Like, realistically speaking, I don't look at the Cardinals and say, man, I think they're just as good. But at the end of the day, when I look at your record, I'm not going to disrespect the fact that y'all have won, 9, 10 NFL games and y'all started 7-0. I can't disrespect that. That's why I throw the Cardinals in there, but I know the Rams belong.
Yeah, I think all we're doing right now is trying to isolate the variable of what energy and what juice you could get from the Arizona Cardinals in terms of respect and in terms of beating that same Arizona Cardinals team. And that's where we differ. I don't respect the Cardinals as much as you based on record, because if you look at it, the Arizona Cardinals goes out there and loses a close game to the Rams without performing that well. So that makes you say, oh, did the Rams really beat the Cardinals, who've been struggling? They're a 500 team since week 7. Oh, have the Rams really beat up on the team? They're 500 at home. Did the Rams really beat up on a tier 1 team? There's conversation about it if you don't agree. I say they didn't. Okay, let's go back then. They beat up on Jacksonville. Is that a tier 1 team? I don't know what tier they are. They're not 1. So when did they get tier 1? Wait a minute. They played tier 1 team, Green Bay. Oh, that didn't go well. San Francisco's not tier 1. They lost to them. Tennessee wasn't tier 1 then, or they are tier 1 without Derrick Henry, which makes them tier 0 when he comes back. I don't know. Point is, you lost to them. All I'm saying is, why is Arizona going to give them a bump up? Because before Arizona, nobody, including you, dropped them. You had them out your power rankings.
I had them out my power rankings. I had them out my
now
top
they're
5.
tier 1?
But my question, we have to ask ourselves, when did they leave? And why, more importantly, did they leave?
Ask yourself. Right? You took them out your power rankings.
I took them out of tier 1 after they lost to the Niners. Bad loss, man. You lost to the Niners. Titans, I understand that loss, right? Rams are riding hot. You're going to lose some games.
Yeah.
But when you lost to the Niners, I was like, okay, I can't give you that. But now I realize Niners might have been better than we thought, but that's still not enough because we still lost to them.
I'm with that.
Lost to them. Niners are 7-6 now. Looks like they're kind of cemented in the playoffs, but Niners, that's not enough. You still got blown out. Then I say, wait a second. You threw a pick trying to force the ball to Odell Beckham. Mm-hmm. And then the second series, you threw another pick after throwing your first pick because you're behind now in mindset and in play calling. So I administer that to Odell Beckham just showed up. You trying to figure out how to work with this new superstar. Obviously, you lose a game, two instantaneous picks, one being a pick 6. I give you some grace for that. Yeah. So after I start to establish, okay, I give you grace for that. Now Jacksonville game, you dominate. Cardinals game, you win. You're right back in for me.
Jacksonville, you said that. Between the Green Bay, between the Arizona nail-biter. You know what's going to be fun this offseason after we look back? Because this has been the most parity we've seen at the top in the NFL in a long time. It's going to be fun when we finally reflect on how right and how we are wrong in these moments. Because Arizona, to me, holds a lot of the gatekeeping right now. Because we have based a lot based off of Arizona, their record, and Arizona, if you play with them, then who you are really. When Green Bay and Tampa Bay doesn't matter
Is
about
that
those.
misguided?
That's my
So
problem.
are the Cardinals not good, or are you saying that we know nothing in actuality about the Cardinals, so we really can't base anything on the Cardinals?
That's what I was saying. Therefore, I can't bump a team back into tier 1 when they play Jacksonville and a team that's the unknown, especially when I think your quarterback in the postseason is still an unknown. Coming up, it's our time for our NFL Power Rankings that didn't have the Rams in it last week, but I guess they're going to be in there this week. We'll see. Find out where the Packers, Bucks, Chiefs, Rams, Patriots all land on our list next on Speak for Yourself. Welcome back. Speak for Yourself. Week 14 is in the books. Acho still got them hands, so it's time for us to reveal our top 5 NFL teams. Acho, get us started. Who you going with at number 5?
Number 5, big dog. They've won 7 in a row. How about the New England Patriots?
You going with the New England Patriots? Let me give you a real number 5. We saw them last night. Good team. Really good team, but not exactly top tier. Let's go with the Los Angeles Rams. Put them up there, please. Yes, Matthew Stafford. Great team. Let me hear why you got the Patriots so low.
Patriots are number 5. They've won 7 in a row. However, rookie quarterback. That's my only reason. It's only because when push comes to shove, if you're number 5, I have you not necessarily in the championship game of the playoffs, but one game out, or maybe in the championship game, depending on the rest of my list. I do think the Patriots are not just one of the 5 best teams in football. I think they're one of the 2 best teams in the AFC. A little bit of a cliffhanger.
Rookie quarterback, or is it, first-year starter at quarterback? Are you a freshman in high school or college, or really it's just your first year in high school or college? All I know is when Mac and Cheese looks up and he sees all those trophies and all those Lombardis, and they say, you are the next version of Tom Brady. He reminds himself that Tom Brady won a Super Bowl as a first-year starter in this offense. But let me talk about these Rams. Rams are good. Like I said before, they are close to being the best, but their best is not good enough. There are other teams that you're going to see get revealed here. I like the Rams, I like them yesterday, being an Arizona team that didn't play their best football, but still more to come. Give me your number 4.
I co-sign the Rams are good. I think they're a little bit better than you give them credit for. Okay. I got the Rams at number 4, just a little bit better than where you have them.
I'm going to go with a team that beat the Rams, so obviously they should be a little higher. The Tennessee Titans. Yes, I have finally done it. I have finally caved. You Tennessee Titans, whatever y'all are, I don't really think that much of them, but they continue to win. 5-2 against playoff teams. Teams sitting there right now without Derrick Henry. When he comes back, just got to assume they're going to be really a good team. So, Tennessee Titans, you earn my respect.
I respect the Titans at 4. I think the Titans might be the most underrated team all season long. We wrote them off while they had Derrick Henry because they had some bad losses. Week 1, they got blown out by the Cardinals. I believe they also lost to the Jets. Now we get it. A.J. Brown didn't play. Julio Jones didn't play.
Right.
But the reason the Titans, I don't love them at 4, again, no Derrick Henry. Can they really match up with squads like the Patriots? I get they beat the Rams. Styles make fights. Titans aren't going to have to see the Rams again unless it's the Super Bowl. I don't love the Titans at the 4 spot.
Okay, well then let me hear. Who you got at number 3? What you got over
My
there?
number 3,
Let me hear that.
Chiefs.
Oh, God.
Again, Chiefs to me are the best team in the AFC. I think the Chiefs are one of the best teams in football. Obviously, is my 3 spot. They've won 6 games in a row. Beat the Giants, didn't care about that. Beat the Packers, Aaron Rodgers, didn't care a ton about that. Beat the Raiders. I'm listening. Oh, beat the Cowboys. Now you have my attention. Whoop the Raiders again, and you beat the Broncos. Chiefs are legitimate. It's time we respect them.
The Raiders, are they winning that division? No. Are they second in that division? No.
The Chiefs keep beating them.
Yeah. You know why they keep beating them? Because they always beat the Raiders. So that ain't nothing to me. We'll get to that later. Let's talk about a real team that's going to be up there. We talking now in the AFC top tier right here. We got the New England Patriots. You just can't get mad at how they've mastered their blueprint. They know how to play. They're playing within their design, within their style. I look at your number 3 team. They find their way to the destination. Then you ask them how you get here. I don't know. It's the defense, I guess. I don't know. Patrick Mahomes is sputtering right now. I don't know. Our playmakers not making as many plays. Whatever you want to call it. You look at the New England Patriots, they're doing it their way. Them, they just getting there anyway.
The Patriots, again, you know I love the Patriots. I got them at my 5 spot. But what you are implying is that the Patriots are a better team than the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And I refuse to
Better
adhere
defense,
to that implication.
Score as many points. Score as many points as the Chiefs, and they have a better defense. And respect to you, Andy Reid, you got a better coach as well. Let's go to your number 2. Who you got?
Number 2.
You know who it is?
The Bucks. The Bucks are the number 2 team. Again, we know how good the Bucks are. What this clearly establishes, though, is that I love the Chiefs a lot and I love the Patriots. That's going to be my AFC championship. You know I've established that. I'm interested in your 2 and your 1. But the Bucks I like a lot. They're my 2 spot.
Okay. I'm going with the Green Bay Packers. Maybe a little recency bias. I don't know. I saw them play in the championship game last year, so I'm going to have them pick. All right, go number 1. We already know how this is.
We already know.
Go. Who you got? So why would you have the Packers over the Buccaneers? What gives you that type of evidence? And give me my Buccaneers. You already know the best team. Let's go.
It's time to
Stop
duel.
boring. We should start going 1 to 5.
It's time to duel.
1 to 5.
The Packers are better than the Bucks right now because Aaron Rodgers is in his bag right now. Not only is Aaron Rodgers in his bag right now.
He in his bag more than Tom Brady?
Because they are going to host a game, assuming both teams win out, right? Assuming the Packers win out and assuming the Bucks win out, the Packers are going to host that game, and the Packers with A.J. Dillon, he going to do the grunt work. Aaron Jones, he's going to do the flashy work. Devontae Adams. I just think the Packers this time around get it done.
Interesting. Okay, let's look at this being real. Better quarterback play right now, Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers? Well, by the MVP voting, it looks like in terms of the forecast, it's Tom Brady, right? Okay, weapons. Who has better weapons? Okay, rushing attack right now. Defense, come back over here. Special teams, come back over here. Why do you have so much confidence in the Green Bay Packers?
The Packers might not have as stout a defense, but I think they have as playmaking.
Okay,
defense.
opportunistic.
Remember,
I like
Russell Douglas. Let's talk about him. Picked up off the practice squad for the Cardinals. My dog, Russell Douglas, I knew him from Philadelphia when he played for the Eagles. He gets a game-winning pick against the Cardinals. A.J. Green runs the wrong route. He gets a pick 6 against Matthew Stafford. And then this very last game, pivotal moments, Justin Fields thinks he's going to stay in it and fight, and Douglas once again picked to the crib. He's doing what Trayvon Diggs was doing early in the season. Packers defense isn't as stout, but they do take the ball away. Come the playoffs, that's what you're going to need. Not just the stout defense, can you score points?
Yeah, but look at the Packers versus the Buccaneers. Packers have those playmakers and making those plays. Buccaneers, mash unit out there. Injuries, surviving and thriving. We'll get healthy when it matters most.
Is that your NFC Championship game? Packers, Bucks, and then Patriots, Titans, your AFC Championship game?
That certainly is my NFC Championship game. Good Lord, you Titans. I got to see how Derrick Henry responds. He's a big man coming back from a foot injury, and everyone thinks as soon as you just add him to the lineup, everything's going to be magical. I need to see how he responds, how he affects his team. I could think of nothing more positive than him coming, but I'm not certain on the AFC Championship game yet because the Buffalo Bills may get hot at the right time. The real question is, we only have one team that's different, right? Chiefs and Titans. Did they play this year? Didn't the Titans so why are they up there?
You refuse to respect.
Refuse to lose.
How many 6-game win streaks did you go on in your NFL career?
6-game win streak?
Yes, sir.
Did I ever win 6 games in a season? No, I don't think I had any.
I had one. I played 4 years. We had one in Philadelphia, Nick Foles. We went on a 9-game win streak. We started out 3-5, finished the year, what was it? No, went on a 7-game win streak. Started out 3-5, finished the year 10-6. Hard to win a game. Hard to win 2 games. Hard to win 3 games. Regardless of your opponent, it's hard to win 6 games in a row. You got to start giving some respect to these Chiefs.
Oh, really?
Regardless of if they're showing their work or not, they have the right score. It's one thing if you flip a coin and you get heads once. Flip a coin, gets heads twice. You flip a coin, get heads 6 times. Maybe it's a 2-sided coin. Maybe the Chiefs just know what they're doing offensively and defensively.
Okay, so interesting. How'd y'all turn out that year with the 7-game win streak? Did y'all win it all? Yes, you did not. Okay, so I ain't gonna put that much respect on it. And if you're putting a lot of confidence in coin flips, we playing a different game in life right now, big dog. It's just a coin flip. That'll do it for our Week 14 power rankings. Let's see if you can toss that ball over there. Let's spin it. Tune in to Week 14. The next week.
That's nice.
It's dead already. Who makes the list? Coming up, Odell Beckham Jr. can do that much better than you did, Acho. And he scored his 3rd touchdown in 3 weeks. Tell you if the old OBJ is back. Next on Speak for Yourself. I'm over here criticizing that. Odell Beckham Jr. balled out and the Rams win last night. He now has 3 straight games with a receiving touchdown after finishing with 0 in 6 games with Cleveland earlier this season. But earlier today, OBJ was among 6 other Rams placed on the COVID-19 list. So, Acho, is the old Odell Beckham Jr. back?
Absolutely, man. The old OBJ is back, and I could not be more excited to see him. Welcome back, Odell Beckham. Welcome back. Exactly right.
Yes.
Who was the old Odell Beckham? Old Odell Beckham. The old OBJ was beating one-on-one coverage. The old OBJ was captivating audiences. The old OBJ was getting his teammates involved. The old OBJ, you would hold your breath as a viewer just waiting to see not only if he catches it, but if he catches it, is he going to score? Then when he scores, what's he going to do? Then let me try to look up what he just did as his touchdown celebration. The old OBJ was more than just a football player. The old OBJ was an entertainer, and that Odell Beckham is back. Not only does he have 3 touchdowns in consecutive games, so a touchdown in 3 consecutive games, Odell Beckham is now having fun with it. And I think that is a contributing factor to the old OBJ. Let's be real. He hasn't scored a touchdown in 3 consecutive games since 2015. 113 different players and 77 different wide receivers have done that since then. So we've seen Odell Beckham do what he hasn't done in roughly 6 years, and 77 receivers have done since. But that was the part. That right there, that OBJ, the celebration OBJ, is what tells me he's back. Because Odell is the type of player who not only wants to win, but he wants to be the reason his team wins. I watch Odell when his other players score, right? When Cooper Kupp scored and early on when Odell was there, Odell wasn't celebrating and doing all that stuff. And I was like, he's happy, but he's not yet fully integrated with the team and celebrating like they're celebrating. But then yesterday, as soon as he scored, signaling his boy is over. Signaling his boy is over. To do the choreographed dances, man, it's good to see. Truly good to see.
Oh, man. Well, I hope this is good to hear because the old OBJ is not back. And that's good because I'm not going to lower the bar of what the old OBJ was. And I'm also not going to raise the bar. I'm just going to say you've hopped over that before. You can do it again. Kind of takes me back to how, the music game goes. Some new artist comes out with a classic album, like Nas's first album, something like that. Then you're like, yo, next level. OBJ in New York, right? Then the next album, not so much on it. Still good, but not so much on it. Then they do something that's good. And you're like, okay, they're back. Nah, because where they started from was classic. And that's where OBJ was in New York, classic. OBJ still hasn't had a 100-yard receiving game since 2016. You do know that, right? That's back? Back to what? You also know that OBJ is now caught up in what I think the narrative is, that he's not as bad as he was advertised in Cleveland, but he's not as good as he was in New York. So that's not back. Back to what? In between how bad they were saying you were with Baker and then how good you really were with Eli Manning. He just got away from Baker and started living better. This is all this is right now. But I wonder why we're asking this question, and I know you're going to have a tough time arguing yourself out of this because you must have forgot who OBJ is. So I'm going to give you a 4-game sample size with the Rams, and you tell me, why are we talking about this right now? First 2 games, 7 catches. Last 2 games, 8. First 2 games, 99 yards. Second 2 games, 105. First 2 games, 1 touchdown. Last 2 games, 2 touchdowns. Like, what's special about that? When OBJ was the dude through 3 seasons in New York on a Randy Moss, Jerry Rice, Michael Thomas level. Now we talking about, oh, you backing up Cooper Kupp pretty well. That ain't the old OBJ.
I think back is going to look different, Sal. And you and I have had this debate across different industries, right? We talk Kanye West, right? I'm like, but Sal, I want all the lights, Kanye, Sal. I want Runaway Kanye, Sal. I want Hey Mama Kanye, Sal. And you check me. You'll be like, Acho, Kanye's still just as talented, but it's a different sound.
Yeah, it's a different version.
And I think Odell, we're going to see a different sound, statistical sound, meaning we might not see the gross yardage, but we'll see more mass touchdowns. Cooper Kupp is here. Cooper Kupp had 130 yards yesterday. Cooper Kupp is going to get the gross yardage, but Odell Beckham will get the touchdowns. And so while Kanye isn't giving us the same all of the lights, Kanye's not necessarily giving us the Hey Mama, Kanye's not giving us Gold Digger, but Kanye is still giving us talent. We just have to understand it's different. It's still back.
It's still that?
But it's
sure?
different than what it was. We just have to grow more accustomed to this newer version.
Man, I need your headphones because I got to check them, make sure you're hearing what I'm hearing. Forget the music, my DJing self. Let's talk football again. Randy Moss went through this. Minnesota Vikings, Randy Moss. I used to play against that dude. Then the Raiders version. Not the same, right? Then he went to New England. We didn't have to argue again. Okay, that's back. Randy Moss is back. Is Odell doing that? Is Odell going back to the New York Giants version, or is he going somewhere between what we saw in Cleveland and New York? Like Randy Moss. Randy Moss didn't go between the Raiders and the Vikings. He went back to the Vikings in terms of his performances. You seen that out of OBJ?
But don't you think there's a difference between mid-season acquisition, and off-season acquisition,
Should've said that first.
I think the other question then is just, is OBJ good enough to be their number one?
Ooh, this offseason.
Until OBJ is a number one, he's not going to have those stats he had in New York. I was in Philly when Odell got into the league, so I saw OBJ several times. New York didn't have anybody. They had a converted tight end. I forget what position he played in college. Their running back was that dude from Boston College, maybe Andre Thomas, if that was his name, number 44, big bruiser. But their offense ran through Odell Beckham. So Odell Beckham had to be everything for everyone. He doesn't have to be everything for everyone in Los Angeles. So I don't know that we're going to see it, not because he can't, just because it's not required of him.
Well, it's not required right now because, like you said, mid-season acquisition. This offseason going to get crunchy because Cooper Kupp is going to be like, I'm Cooper Kupp. And Odell going to be like, you see my skills? And then Robert Woods going to tap them both on the shoulder and say, hey, give me mine as well. It's going to be a good problem to have if you're a Rams fan. Coming up. Only 4 more weeks left. Can you get that out, Wiley? The AFC North is still up for grabs. I need some water. Tell you who wins it next. Don't speak for yourself. You ain't right. Leave that man alone. The AFC North is suddenly wide open with the Steelers and Bengals losing while the Ravens lost to the Browns on Sunday. All 4 teams are clustered within 1.5 games of one another, making the stretch run a tight one for the division crown. Acho, who wins the AFC North, man?
I love this question. I love this question. It's very difficult. Give me the Browns. Browns are going to win the AFC North. Browns are going to finish 10-7. When I look at the Browns' remaining schedule, they have the Raiders, they have the Packers, they have the Steelers, they have the Bengals. The only game they're going to lose is to the Green Bay Packers. They will handle business against the Raiders. Raiders are sputtering right now. We saw the Raiders get dismantled and embarrassed emotionally and physically by the Chiefs. We've also seen the Raiders lose to the Washington football team. Then you have the Browns. We know they're going to beat the Steelers. Steelers are just trying to hang on right now by a thread. So it's going to come down. The AFC North will come down to week 18, Browns, Bengals. Who's going to get it done? But I remind y'all, Baker Mayfield, his career versus the Bengals, he goes crazy. 6-1 versus the Bengals. 85% win percentage, that is. Completion percentage at 65. Passing touchdown percentage, 10%. Passer rating, look at it compared to everybody else. So you might as well go ahead and count that win in a bag for the Browns. If the North Division, is going to come down to that final matchup, Browns-Bengals, I like the Browns. Now, you might say, well, Acho, what about the Ravens?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Ravens got it bad, big dog. They got the Packers right now, first and foremost. Then they have the Bengals. Now, the Ravens can beat the Bengals, but I don't anticipate Lamar being fully healthy, if ever again this season. I don't anticipate it. Probably so for 3 weeks. I think you've had ankle injuries. I've never really had an ankle injury.
Crack.
But Lamar's not going to be fully healthy until maybe Rams, likely Steelers. Ravens aren't beating the Packers. Bengals without Lamar healthy going to be a struggle. Remember, it was the Bengals game where the Bengals realized all-out blitz Lamar on third down and changed the complexity of the rest of the season for the Ravens. Go up and look at Lamar Jackson on third down following the Bengals game. So the Ravens, I think, are going to be out the picture because of their schedule. Give me the Browns.
I'm going with the Baltimore Ravens. It's a deep way of looking at it, and there's also a simple way of looking at it. Let's start simple. One, you ever watch horse racing? You ever go to the horses? You're a gambling man, so I know you probably put some money on it. Me, I'm a little more leisure with my experience. I just watch them, and away they go. And then me and my boy just sitting there about halfway through say, who gonna win? And I'm like, I don't know none of these horses. You know? No. The one in the lead. That's who gonna win, all right? That's my simple way of saying it. Baltimore has the lead. They're gonna win. You bring up a deeper analysis. Let's talk about strength of schedule. Who has the toughest remaining schedule left in that division? Pittsburgh. Who's next? Baltimore. Who's right behind them? Cincinnati. And the Cleveland Browns. You go from toughest schedule remaining to seventh toughest in the NFL. So they're all bunched together in terms of strength of schedule going forward. Now, let's start to go even deeper. Let's talk about record versus playoff teams, the good teams, because they're going to face some teams, Packers, Bengals, Rams, Steelers, as you brought up, et cetera. Only one team in the NFL is undefeated against playoff teams currently. Baltimore Ravens. Let's look at these Cleveland Browns. I see 5 losses already against current playoff teams. I don't know if they're going to show up against the best teams. That's the conversation. But let's go one more layer. We talk about Lamar Jackson being hurt. I think that's the best thing for him in this moment right now. And this is a blessing in disguise because he had to get back to basics. He had to get back to the fundamentals because this season compromised because of injuries, running back position all around the team. Lamar tried to do too much. And when you do too much, guess what? It comes back to haunt you. You press. You find yourself either injured or not playing within your own skin. Lamar Jackson now, once you know you can't do too much, you might get back to the simpler things. No one wishes injury on themselves, but I do remember time and time again when I was compromised physically, I was sharper mentally. Just like how they say you got your 5 senses, you lose one of your senses, the other 4 are enhanced. I think in this passing attack, they may be enhanced because they have to be simplified. That's it, Acho? Okay, good. Coming up, Mike McCarthy defended Dak Prescott after beating Washington. Tell you if he's keeping it 100 or 99. Next on Speak for Yourself. I got number 3. Here you go. On this show, we only know how to keep it 100, but others, they only keep it 99. Each day we're going to get to the bottom of that and who's really telling the truth. Case in point, Cowboys offense struggled in a win over Washington after the game. Mike McCarthy tried to take the blame off Dak Prescott. Listen to this.
I don't think Dak's in a slump. I think everything that has not gone the way we'd like it to go are things that we can improve on.
Mike keeping it 100 or 99?
I'm just mad why he was struggling so hard to get the sense out.
He must be a really good person because it's tough for him to lie. Give it to me.
He keeping it 9, 9.9. No, Dak's slump is on him. Nobody forced Dak to throw the ball right to the linebacker when the game on the line. Dak's slump is on him. That's fine. He's grown enough. He's man enough. He can stand there and take it.
Thank you. You can say, well, Dak's not playing his best ball, but guess what? We look forward to him playing his best ball instead of hyperventilating and over there just, I don't know if he's going to be better. That's it for us. I see you, Big Mike. Stop lying, though. We'll see y'all tomorrow.
Big
Bro,
Mike.
with a Big Mike lying. Jenny mad at me.